1,450 kilometers. That's how far the Kheibar Shekan ballistic missile can travel. Not to an air base. Not to a port facility. Not to a radar installation. On March 2, 2026, Iran's IRGC pointed that missile directly at the office of a sitting prime minister and fired. Forget the diplomatic statements. Forget the damage assessments. Forget every press conference you've watched this week. There is one fact that tells you exactly what this strike represents, and almost nobody covering this conflict is saying it out loud yet. This is not just a revenge strike. This is the moment Iran demonstrated it can execute the same targeting doctrine that was used to kill Khamenei, from the other direction. What's up? I'm Henry. This is Geopolitics Decoder. And today we're breaking down the Kheibar Shekan strike on Netanyahu's office, the strategic angle that mainstream coverage has reduced to a headline. Here's what the reporting is missing. Iran's IRGC confirmed this was Wave 10 of Operation True Promise 4. They used Kheibar Shekan missiles. They targeted the Israeli government complex in Tel Aviv, military centers in Haifa, and East Jerusalem, simultaneously. That is 3 target categories in one salvo. But the question no analyst on cable news is asking is this: why the Kheibar Shekan specifically? Not the Fatah hypersonic. Not the Shahab series. Not a drone swarm. Why this missile against this target on this day? The answer is in the engineering. And the engineering has implications that extend far beyond this single wave. This isn't just retaliation for Khamenei's death. This is Iran proving it can mirror the precision targeting doctrine used against its own supreme leader, and demonstrating that no address in Israel, including the Prime Minister's office, sits outside that equation. Here's the sequence. Step 1. The solid fuel advantage. The Kheibar Shekan runs on solid propellant. According to verified specifications published by Iran Watch and independently confirmed by the Alma Research and Education Center in Israel, the missile carries a range of 1,450 kilometers, a warhead of 450 to 600 kilograms, and achieves a circular error probable, meaning targeting accuracy, of under 100 meters. That last number matters. Under 100 meters means the missile is designed to hit a specific building, not a city block. But none of those specifications are the real story. The real story is the fuel. Older Iranian systems ran on liquid propellant. Liquid fuel requires hours of visible, exposed preparation on a launch pad, fuel trucks, pressurization equipment, launch crews working in the open. That preparation window is what gives satellite surveillance, signals intelligence, and aerial reconnaissance the time to detect a launch before it happens. That is the kind of intelligence window that has historically given defenders an edge. The Kheibar Shekan eliminates that window entirely. Step 2. The invisible launcher. A solid-fuel ballistic missile can be stored fully loaded on a mobile transporter. In Iran's case, adapted commercial truck chassis, hidden inside a warehouse, a tunnel system, or a hardened mountain facility, and fired within minutes of receiving a single order. No fuel trucks. No hours-long preparation signature. No satellite imagery that broadcasts launch timing to adversary surveillance networks. According to analysis published by Arms Control Wonk using open-source propellant production data, Iran's solid propellant missile production capacity runs between 136 and 289 missiles per month. You cannot preempt what you cannot locate. And you cannot locate what looks like freight parked in a warehouse. Step 3. The leadership targeting signal. The IRGC's own Wave 10 statement, published through SIPA News and independently confirmed by WANA on March 2, 2026, declared that this wave opened what they described as the Great Gates of Fire, and specifically named the Israeli government complex in Tel Aviv as a primary objective, alongside military centers in Haifa and East Jerusalem. That is not random target selection. That is Iran running the identical targeting logic that defined Operation Epic Fury: lead with leadership, lead with command infrastructure, go for the address where decisions are made. Now stop and think about what that sequencing means. Iran did not fire its most capable solid-fuel precision missiles at a power grid. It did not fire at a water treatment facility. It named a government office and fired a weapon that cannot be detected on a launch pad, travels 1,450 kilometers, and lands within 100 meters of a coordinate. That's not opportunistic. That's doctrine mirroring. And now here's where the math gets uncomfortable. The Kheibar Shekan costs an estimated $1 to $2 million per unit to produce. That figure derives from a Jerusalem Post analysis of Iranian ballistic missile production economics, applied to comparable solid-fuel medium-range systems. Israel's Arrow 3 interceptor, designed specifically to engage ballistic missiles at altitude, Costs approximately $3 million per round, according to cost data published by the Missile Defense Advocacy Association. Patriot PAC-3 MSE interceptors run approximately $3.9 million per round, a figure cited in congressional testimony and confirmed by defense industry sources including ahead of the HUD's analysis of current conflict costs. The THAAD interceptor, the system the United States deployed most heavily to defend Israel in June 2025, costs $15 million per round, based on FY 2026 unit cost data published directly by the SIZE Missile Defense Project. Let that land. Iran spends up to $2 million to deliver a 500-kilogram precision warhead to a specific address. The defense side spends $3 to $15 million per intercept attempt. And military doctrine, confirmed by Business Insider's analysis of current engagement rates, requires firing a minimum of 2 interceptors per incoming threat to achieve acceptable intercept probability. That means a single Kheibar Shekan engagement costs the defending side between $6 million and $30 million in interceptors alone. To stop a weapon that cost $2 million to build and nothing to conceal. That asymmetry is not new. But after Wave 10, it compounds a stockpile problem that was already in critical territory before this war started. A January 2026 SIZE report, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a nonpartisan defense policy institution in Washington, not a fringe outlet, published verified procurement data from DoD's own P-21 budget exhibit showing the United States had received a total of 534 THAAD interceptors. That is the complete delivered inventory across all theaters, all batteries, all global commitments. During the June 2025 12-day war, the United States fired between 100 and 150 THAAD interceptors, confirmed by both the Wall Street Journal and SIZE analysis. By the most conservative estimate, that consumed roughly 20% of the entire global THAAD stockpile in less than 2 weeks. By the higher figure, it was closer to 47%. According to the same SIZE report, the last THAAD interceptor delivery to U.S. inventory occurred in July 2023. The next scheduled delivery pipeline does not begin until April 2027. That is not a rounding error. The United States has not received a single new THAAD interceptor in over 2.5 years. And the conflict it is currently inside is generating interception demands that already exceed the June 2025 pace. Iran, by contrast, is producing over 100 ballistic missiles per month according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, citing intelligence figures that CNN independently confirmed on March 4, 2026. Iran essentially turned the Kheibar Shekan into a compound billing document. Every solid fuel salvo is a forced purchase order against a stockpile that cannot be restocked until 2027. And unlike the liquid fuel predecessors that advertise their launch through hours of visible preparation, these invoices arrive without warning. And here's the dimension of this that extends far beyond Tel Aviv. A February 2026 JINSA report, the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, a pro-defense think tank with extensive DoD relationships, published cost estimates from the June 2025 conflict showing that Iran's total missile campaign cost between $1.1 billion and $6.6 billion on the Iranian side, while U.S. and Israeli interceptor costs reached $1.48 to $1.58 billion. In terms of GDP per capita, that conflict cost Iran 93 times more than Israel, and 371 times more than the United States. Those numbers appear to favor the defense economically. But a separate JINSA report published March 5, 2026, the same week Wave 10 landed on Netanyahu's office, reached a blunter conclusion. The report's title was unambiguous: Iran's missile firepower has almost run out. Launchers reportedly have by airstrikes. Pre-war stockpiles of approximately 2,500 ballistic missiles, assessed by the IDF and reported by the Times of Israel, now under severe attrition. And China is watching both ledgers simultaneously. Every THAAD interceptor consumed defending Tel Aviv is one that cannot be positioned on a destroyer in the South China Sea. Every Arrow 3 fired over Jerusalem is $3 million unavailable for the Indo-Pacific deterrence calculation. The depletion accumulating in real time is not just an Israeli or American problem. It is a global strategic solvency problem, and Beijing's planners are doing the arithmetic. Now, I want to be honest with you about what we don't know, because that matters too. We do not have Israeli military confirmation of direct damage to Netanyahu's office building. Xinhua correspondents in Jerusalem on March 2 reported that local residents saw no visible signs of missile impact in the area of the Prime Minister's office. Netanyahu appeared publicly hours after the IRGC's statement claiming his fate was unclear, a public appearance independently confirmed by India Today. Israel has not acknowledged a direct hit on the Prime Minister's building. The IRGC's targeting claims during active combat operations carry a documented history of overclaiming precision results. We don't yet have independent satellite imagery confirming a direct strike on the government complex as described. The Pentagon has not issued a battle damage assessment on Wave 10 targets. But what we do know, the Kheibar Shekan's verified specifications from Iran Watch, the interceptor cost data published by Size and Jinsa, the production rate figures cited on the record by Secretary Rubio, that data is public. It comes from DoD procurement exhibits, published think tank analysis, congressional testimony, and manufacturer records. None of those numbers have been disputed. The defense architecture that the United States and Israel built across 3 decades rested on an implicit promise. The promise that layered missile defense, THAAD, Arrow, Patriot, David, Sling, could absorb any Iranian salvo and protect the core. That the cost of precision targeting a world leader's office from 1,450 kilometers away would be prohibitive for any adversary. Wave 10 tests that promise against a missile that costs $2 million, launches without a detectable signature, and arrives within 100 meters of its coordinate. The defensive response costs between $6 and $30 million per engagement, drawn from a THAAD stockpile that received its last delivery in July 2023 and will not receive the next until April 2027. Iran says the waves continue. Size data says the replacement interceptors are over a year away. Those two timelines do not live in the same universe. And someone in Washington knows that, even if nobody is saying it on camera yet, that is not a missile defense challenge. That is a compounding liability with a fixed replenishment date. And compounding liabilities do not negotiate. This is Geopolitics Decoder. If this breakdown helped you understand something the mainstream coverage isn't explaining, share it. Send it to someone who needs to see it. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm Henry. I'll see you in the next one.